What's going on YouTube? Earth Power here with CVH,
How's it going, everybody?
and we're here for the start of Season 3, the bracket tournament, trying to find another best deck in the finish meta. So new ban list down below. We didn't mention it till probably halfway through the video a few days ago. So check that out. It's in the description. It'll be linked in all the videos moving forward. With the new ban list being, I see new ban list, the same cards still banned, Bombazar, but Slash Charger at 1, Soulswap at 2, and Corile at 2. Everything else is unlimited and ready to go. So Clamp is back and maybe better than ever. We'll find out. So we're here today with the deck profiles for our first leg of the play-in bracket. So play-in is going to be 5 weeks long with us going over the 3 decks. So today we'll be going over 5 Civ Control, Darkfire Rush, and Phantomach, if the description didn't give it away, or the video title, or whatever you're looking at. And over the course of the next 4 weeks, we will be going over each of the other legs of the play-in as we decide which 5 decks out of each of these legs will make it into the main tournament, and then we will have another top 16 bracket tournament, just like the previous seasons. So, without further ado, we're going to get into our first deck profile, a newer deck on the channel, taking a lot of the cool things that other decks like Foul and Rebirth have kind of shown us over the course of the last season or two in 5 Civ Control.
Didn't know if we were going to start with this one. Spoiler alert, it's the biggest picture by far.
Yeah, this was fun laying this out, I tell you what. So everything in curve order this time, you're welcome. And yeah, what do you start with this one. This is there's a lot to talk about here. This is like the best part of Rebirth. My video just is gone. There I am. I'm back. Hello.
There we
Here
go.
we are.
Sorry for the brief interruption, everybody. I did a thing.
Yeah.
Figured
Yeah,
it out,
but
though.
yeah, this is definitely like taking Rebirth and Foul to just the next level. And trying to fit 5 civs in 40 cards was a doozy. And CVH can tell you all about it because he's the one who I think put most of this together.
Yeah, I can't really remember the conversation that spurred this thought, but we really ran with it and we actually built the deck. And I think more, it was like, I felt it was like a challenge because we were playing this 40 card format. I was like, maybe we can just fit all 5 colors in the deck. And I know it's not optimal. I know even some of like the bigger 50 card IDC burn lists that run 5 civs probably maybe shouldn't be, but I really wanted to give it a shot. It was a fun deck building challenge to try to balance the civilizations. And looking at it, basically the thought process is that Phorboss, and to a lesser extent Rebirth, Belix, and Soulswap make this deck really toolboxy, and you just play a bunch of one of really high utility spells mostly and some finishers, and you get Bronze Arm Tribe as a 4 of and Sky Sword as a 2 of to help mana fix a little bit. And yeah, besides that, it's like a 5 civilization Foul deck. So you get the benefit of the water draw and the ramp with nature and all the other good stuff you're usually playing in the Foul Phorboss decks.
And it's interesting, right? Because one might argue that like if you look at it, like the curve of this deck is almost stronger than like decks like Foul and Rebirth. But
oh yeah, it has all the best cards. It just might not be able to play them.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But because of 5 civs, it becomes difficult. But like we really tried, and if you notice just kind of how the multi civs kind of work themselves out in this deck, the multi civs mana fix a lot of where like there's only 4 true water cards, but there's Bloom, there's Hide and Seek, there's Natural, Miraculous Snare, Miraculous Plague. Like, you know, essentially you've got 10 water cards here, but, you know, you wouldn't quite notice it on paper. So, like CVH said, the Bronze Arm Tribe and the Sky Sword really helped the mana fix here. Those are the cards you want to see on curve, and we tried to gear like more towards that nature and light section for those cards because I think those are the stronger civs in this. And the deck, I think the real key, the reason why we ended up on 5 civ at the end of the day, like you said, not only is it a challenge, but you can't not play Elixia in this type of deck, right? And that's really what spurred the conversation. Just the fact that you can drop a 6 cost 15 plus K, 16K creature on 5 or 6 with ramp is just a really neat concept. So, you know, we went with it, and here's the list. Let us know what you think.
Here is the list. And in the first play-in match, it'll be up against the deck that you really don't want to be mana screwed against. Darkfire Rush. Should we jump on into it?
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, it's these 2 profiles probably deserve their own profile, but just I think the way, just in lack of
you could talk about 5 civ control for like an hour, but
right. these are definitely like the two of the newer decks that we put together. There's a handful in this play-in for sure decks, especially next week when we get to a few more. But yeah, Darkfire Rush. This is the first time I've ever put it together for anything quote unquote semi-competitive. Darkfire always felt like the weaker Rush archetype, like, or whatever you call it, like duality, if you will. But it's just where Fire is always a part of Rush, and then you mix it with another civilization. Dark always felt like the weaker version, but we really wanted to try cards like Jewel Spider and Spinning Terror because on paper they're really strong, and technically Darkness has the best one drop in the lone tier. Granted, you can't play it on turn one. But it is the
Best fake
stickiest
one drop.
of the one drops, when it comes to that. And Marrow's being a blocker, like Darkness gives a lot of really cool utility to Rush that you don't really see in the other civilizations. And being able to curve out into Snake Attack and then still play all the normal fire stuff is just really, really cool.
Yeah, and if you're a Jewel Spider and Spinning Terror enthusiast, don't worry, we have Water Dark aggro in the bracket in the actual top 16 too. So yeah, not the only time you'll be seeing those cards.
Yeah, for
but that's
sure.
Darkfire.
Hydras, yeah.
I got nothing else to say about Darkfire. We've
No,
it's
Rush. I mean,
Darkfire.
we
You
played
can't
with the
play
flex
Ganta, which
spots.
sucks, but yeah.
Yeah. Snake Attack and Comet Missile were kind of the weaker flex spots here. We felt like we just needed more removal. That's what this deck is going to struggle with. Any blocker over 3K, since you don't have Ganta and Quixotic. So Spinning Terror can bounce with a 3,000 power blocker, but that's not what you want. So leaning more into some of the blocker removal with Comet Missile, and then letting Snake Attack just kind of be your win-all if the deck doesn't really get off to a full head of steam in the first two turns. Just helps you get there. So those are your flex spots. Be very interested to see what you guys think and what your comments on this list are down below.
Yeah. And let us know who you think is going to win between 5 Civ Control and Darkfire Rush, and then who you think is going to win between the winner of that match and our gatekeeper, Phantomach. As soon as I get it up.
Yeah.
There you go.
Phantomach is back for season 3. So with he's brought some new friends to the party. So after a very strong showing in season 1 and a very weak showing in season 2, it got relegated
it
as
got top 8. What are you talking about?
I mean,
losing 1-2 and going 1-1 is a fine showing.
You're right.
It's a fine showing.
You're right. So, but we relegated it to the as a gatekeeper deck this time around. So I figured we'd let it prove itself if it wants to be in the bracket this time around.
Yeah. Because regardless of a fine showing, I mean, let's be real, it's probably a tier 3 deck at best. So it is what it is. Right. We wanted to show other decks off.
Yeah. But this season, we really wanted to lean into stronger 2-drops. So Stragrandu and Petrova were definitely the strongest, I think, thing we noticed in season 2. So we leaned into that a little bit more heavy here in season 3. And and kind of fell off with Grash and some of the more control-centric cards that this deck was playing with before. Got rid of Kolan, traded it for Holy All, which we may or may not have been playing in season 2.
That was a change we made after season 1. Another thing that I think is the most important change is finally going up to 4 Mysterios, which is I mean, this deck has to play a lot of kind of garbagey creatures, and the thing that makes them good and allow you to fill the board with them and make them a dangerous army of garbagey creatures is Mysterios. So you can cycle and also punish your other mid-rangey opponents for doing the same type of game plan. And then hopefully you go over the top with Phantomach and then just break all their shields in one turn before they can do the same to you. And it also makes all those shield triggers really nice because you're getting creatures on board. You're also drawing more cards than play from your hand. So really, really nice to be able to refill you. And it's hard to imagine this deck winning a ton of games against non-rush decks that don't involve Mysterios. So a card you want 4 of probably.
Right. And Phantomach, just as a final note here, it's always interesting because at least on paper, because none of this looks great on curve, right?
Mysterios does. Pela and Mysterios do.
The 2 for 1,000 power. Pela's, I mean, okay on curve, but you're not really giving power to anything that you're not really wanting to swing early with this deck. So Pela's just kind of buffing everything for a few turns. Like, it's such a interesting deck that feels like it wants to play like aggro, but it really just should be dirtling. And I guess that's fine. And you hope you can do it long enough until you can play Phantomach to Alpha Strike. So the only thing I think comments from the last season is why 3 Phantomach instead of 4, and it's really just because the card's only good once. So you're gonna play it once, and you're either gonna swing for this, you're either gonna go for game, you're gonna lose that turn, like more than likely. So
having 2 Phantomachs in your hand generally sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
at any
So,
point.
right. So sticking with 3 there, upping Mystrios just to win those slower games. And yeah, otherwise just leaning into all the fact that it still plays a ton of triggers. So there's still what, 12, 14? No, there's way more
16
than that. Yeah,
technically.
16. Yeah.
Zombie
So
Carnival is like a pseudo trigger, but yeah.
forgot. Yeah. So, the deck's still strong. Relegated it to the Gatekeeper, and we'll see if it can hold its own against the winner between 5 Civ and Darkfire Rush coming up here in the next couple of days. So stay tuned for that, guys.
Yeah.
So hope you enjoyed this more comprehensive deck profile look at the next 3 decks coming up in the videos here over the course of the next couple of days. Darkfire versus 5 Civ Control coming to you on Thursday. And then over the weekend, we will be posting the Gatekeeper match between Phantomach and the winner of those two. So stay tuned, guys. Leave a like. Let us know what you think of this format of deck profiles. I'm hoping this works for you because it's what we're going to be doing here on out.
Yep. Well,
And until
for this part of the bracket, the play-in, right?
at least, at least for the play-in, and then I think when we get to top 16, we'll probably do something a little different, but we'll figure that out as we get there. But yeah, guys, until next time, Peach.
Peach.